Assalamualaikum. We are from group Fakri and Friends. So for our group, we were asked to design a program that have the decision structure, repetition structure, array and vector concepts, text file processing. So our group has come up with the situation at an auto vehicle. We want to record all the data of the auto parts, so we developed a system called Nabila Auto Inventory System, or NICE. The system will have the function to store the data of the auto parts such as ID, price, name and quantity. So for this case, we're going to design a program that can calculate the overall quantity of auto parts, overall value of auto parts, the most expensive auto parts info, and the highest quantity auto parts info. So here is the table for our data. Moving on to the program. So first of all, we call the library of iStream, iManip, FStream, and Vector as they are going to be used throughout the coding. So we start with the declaring option as char data type using while loop condition true so the loop can be executed. We display the menu for the user in the output screen, which are Nabila Auto Inventory System NICE. For A, the number of available stock. For B, the total quantity of all auto parts. For C, the total value of all the auto parts. For D, the info about the most expensive auto parts. For E, the info about the highest quantity of auto parts. And for Q is to quit the program. We also display the option. So for option A, this loop will display the number of available stock. This loop will display the number of available stock of the auto parts. So if the text file is not failed to open, it will display in the output screen the file has been successfully opened. But if the condition is false, then it will display the file has failed to be opened. After that, it will display in the output screen the column of the ID, quantity, price and product. Here we declare the variables which are quantity, ID, product 1 till product 5 and the price. After we ask the program to read the file, it will display the number of available stock by referring to the file of inventory data here. The output will display the ID, quantity, price of every products that are available in stocks.
Now I will explain about the second option, which is option B. This loop will calculate the overall value of the auto parts. First, you have to open the in file, which is for this program, inventory data. Declare the related variables again, quantity, ID, product 1 until product 5, total quantity and price. After we ask the program to read the file, we calculate the total quantity and using the formula total quantity equals to total quantity plus quantity. The program at first total quantity is 0, and then the program will add 25, 300, 220, 95 and 175 to calculate the total quantity. The total should be 815. For option C, this loop will calculate the overall value of auto parts. The program will be almost the same as the second option except for the formula. The new variables will be declared, which are total value and single value. The formula for this loop will be total value equals to total value plus single value. Then it will display the total value for all auto parts in Ringgit Malaysia.
Hello guys, my name is Ahmad Haziq. I'll be explaining about the option D for the program. The option D is actually about getting the info or deciding which of the part that is the most expensive. And in order to do that, the first thing we did is declaring all of the variables, and we use vector for each type of data. For example, the ID, the quantity, the product name, and the price. And then to store the data one by one, we use the while loop so that we read until the end of the line of the file. After we manage to store all the data in the vectors, we compare the price for each part one by one using the for loop. Once the program has decided which part is the most expensive by the price, it will then determine the name of the product, the quantity, and the ID, which in the end will be displayed in the output. After all is done, the program will go back to the main menu. That's all for me.
My name is Wanzo Fakri bin Wan Ruslan with ID number 18002384. So next I'll be explaining for the option E, which is to find the highest quantity auto parts info. Alright, so first we will open the file which have the data of the inventories, and then this coding will show if the file has been successfully opened or the file has failed to be opened. And next we declare the variable, and we'll be using the vector. So for example, the variable for ID and quantity, we set it to be the integer data type, and we'll be using the vector. And here is for the other variables. We declare first, and then we'll be using the while loop to read all the lines in the file until the end. And then we will use the for loop to find the product with the highest quantity. So this is the condition of the loop. So this loop will decide for the product with the highest quantity, and then we will display a output that shows the ID of the product with the highest quantity, and the name of the product of the highest quantity, and its price for the product with the highest quantity. And then for the option Q, it will terminate the program. And for here, if the user entered the wrong input, it will display you have entered the wrong input. I will show all the outputs that will be displayed for every options. For option A, it will shows all the available stocks in the inventory, and for the option B, it will shows the total quantity of all auto parts. And for the option C, it will show the total value of all the auto parts, and for the option D, it will shows the info about the most expensive auto parts, and for the option E, it will shows the info of the highest quantity auto part. And if the user input any other words other than A, B, C, D, E, and Q, it will display you have entered wrong input. And if we press Q, it will quit the program.